Welcome to That RPG podcast, where every great adventure starts with a single idea.
I'm DQ, your friendly neighborhood GM.
I'm Courtney Staples, and America is great.
And I'm Johnny Law, and they will not break me.
Hi, I'm Sean from Meldar16 Games.
I'm Mel from Meldar16.
I'm admin.
I am writer, illustrator,
Editor,
layout, graphic design,
or sometimes co-writer,
printing, press, binding,
salesperson, but Mel's the real
I
deal.
mean, you share in that too.
Super excited today for this episode as we have two lovely guests joining us. We have Mel and Sean of Meldar16 Games. And they're here to tell us about their awesome witty products. And we're going to learn a little bit about what goes into using 4 printers to put out all your product. I really love that you guys you played on a son of kind of thing with the Epson, son of Epson of Satan, Epson of Sam, Epson of
the 4
bitch.
printers of the apocalypse.
Yep, I truly believe that printers are powered by the souls of toddlers. There's no other way to describe it.
Would make a lot of sense, yeah. I take it yours are very reliable, never have any issues.
Oh, no, never. They've never once earned their names.
Do they all run out of the ink at the same time?
There will be times where one will start acting up, and so I'll have to rely a little more on the other 3, and then another one will be like, well, I don't want to take on this extra load. And I've even created a little dunce cap and printer timeout for them when they're particularly bad. So I'm just no one else would know this, but I'm shaming you right now. So get yourself together.
Now we bring up these printers for a reason, because there is a distinct DIY and physical quality to the books that I saw. Like the one I bought, Our Lady of Chaos.
A Terror Redux.
That series, yes. So tell me about you guys use these printers to make these books. Are you producing all these books in-house or by hand? Wow, okay.
Yep.
So when we very first started, actually, Our Lady of Chaos was the very first thing Mel made, and we sent it off for printing. And it was just a combination of the actual cost of it. You've seen it a million times with Kickstarters, things like that. And then just quality control. We were never happy with how things looked.
Yeah, there would be on the proofs we would get back, there would just be solid pages that were just black. And it was always an image too. So it was either a map or an illustration or something. And they would always just be solid black. And I could never figure out what was the problem. So eventually it was just all right, we're
both a combination of seeing Zine Quest and both of us actually putting out punk scenes back in the day. It was just kind of well, let's just print it. Let's do it.
Yeah. So we started off with we had an old school Brother toner printer that literally worked until it exploded.
Oh no.
Those things were reliable too, which is crazy.
Right?
Oh, we put it to work.
Yeah, because he had it for a while, and then I took over using it, and it printed a lot of zines.
And it was just my home printer that I would use for work and things like that. And then it just went, oh, we're printing a few hundred copies of a zine, huh?
Yep. So it literally exploded, smoke was coming out of it and everything. So then, we decided to go towards the Echo Tank option because it was, cheaper ink refills and everything. So we started with one, Epson of Satan, and started being able to do color with that as well. So that opened up a bunch of, more opportunities of stuff we could do.
After that came all the other, the bookbinding machine, the paper cutters.
Giant guillotine cutter.
All the fun stuff to play with.
Yeah, and the binding machine. And pretty much we just would keep an eye out, and every time Vivo would have a sale or something, we'd be all right, we're getting this. We sold enough zines, so now we can get this next thing. And then, it turned into 3 printers, and now it's 4. And I'm already over here being okay, when are we getting the 5th one? The binding thing, we went spiral because it seems like it was the best option with making it user friendly, I guess.
It's a lot easier to thumb through. I was looking through it, and it feels like something I could use at the table, because
and you can lay it flat in the table. You can flip the front side around the back. And
the quality of these pages are good. It's not like they're bleeding through at all. It's got this feel like it was made with love, but at the same time, I could use this.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, we got really obsessive about paper.
Oh yeah, I find myself like feeling up books and anything because I'm like, oh, this is a really nice paper. I wonder, like, and then I try to guess, like, the weight and everything. I think the best example of it was when we did Too Many Games this past summer, and the paper they used just to put everyone's like names on their tables was it was so nice. It was like vellum paper, and I literally was just like, this has to be like so expensive, and they used it just for this, that everyone's just going to throw this out. And I made sure I was like, I'm keeping this paper, even though I'm never going to use it for anything because it already has just Meldar16 on it. But
print something on the back.
But yeah, but I was just like the whole time I was like, I can't believe they use this paper for this. Like,
just to put table 32 Mel and Sean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's funny because there's I talked to a bunch of other people that also like DIY their like books and stuff, and they're like the same way. They're like, yeah, I've become obsessed with paper.
I used to work as an in-house graphic designer and did some print stuff, and it was always like, oh, just gotta stroke these like sample books and stuff.
But speaking of the genesis of Meldar16, so Meldar16 was your handle, is that correct?
I used to do illustration and like comic book art. I, made my Instagram and everything, all my art stuff, Meldar16. It was actually a nickname that my one manager gave me years ago. And I was just like, oh, I really like that. Like,
why 16?
Oh, so 16 is my birthday. Yeah, it's just like my lucky number type thing and stuff. So
I mean, you got to get the 16 printers.
Right? Exactly. Right? We've already started pulling in 16-sided die. So, that'll be the next step.
That's Loser, right? Loser has
the 16. Yeah, we got the spinner in it. And then we do have, we found someone that made D16s. So we like order
in bulk every time we can.
What brought you guys into, we're definitely talk about your games, especially Loser. I have so many questions about all that. But what brought you guys into RPGs, or as I'd like to say, TTRPGs?
We have an ongoing battle as of our last episode that's coming out tomorrow. You'll understand. I cut out most of our arguments though, so it's not really there. We're all in agreement in that episode.
Well, I got into TTRPGs from CRPGs.
How? You guys get credit. You're like, CRPGs don't exist.
That was John who said that.
I said they're like Chinese.
Uh-huh.
Like JRPGs are Japanese.
Continue, John. Continue.
I got into it not when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was always a TTRPG adjacent. So like I played the first two Baldur's Gates way back in the day, like when they came out. I read all the Dragonlance books.
Wrestling, how you were gonna say it, yeah.
And then it wasn't until high school that I actually like played my first RPG, and it was Vampire the Masquerade.
Nice.
It wasn't until a buddy of mine who was a big podcast listener, and Brian Posehn has a podcast, that they had an actual play podcast at the same time that 4th edition was coming out. So as they were learning 4th edition on the air, my buddy who also, we traded the Dragonlance books and we played the Baldur's Gate game together and all that kind of stuff. He just finally went like, I think I know how to play this now. I'm going to run a game. And just dove headfirst from there. I pulled Mel in.
Yeah, so I didn't play any TTRPGs until my 20s, but played a couple campaigns with our friend group, and then 2019 we started a Curse of Strahd campaign, and that was my first like one that we actually finished. It also was in the midst of COVID. Went from in-person playing to online playing with everyone, and it's just like, oh, like I miss like the all of us being together and stuff like that. Then we all took turns deciding on who would. There's always the forever DM. We all decided in our group that we were going to take turns running a game. And when it came to my turn, I literally showed up the first session with 70 pages of notes and like 40 painted illustrations already for Our Lady of Chaos, and was just like, all right, we're ready to go. And everyone was like, you need to do something with this. You can't just like make this just for us.
And a lot of
Yeah.
those like paintings and some of the writing that she did ended up in the final version
Mhm.
because that's how detailed she got into it. And
Yeah.
like Mel said, pretty much the entire group, you know, after Mel had been putting out comics and everything, was like, you gotta put this out.
I have a lot of questions about Our Lady of Chaos. I just, was going through it. So we know it's using 5e's rule set, but the material itself seems completely original, your world. And what struck me as I was reading through it is just like, I know it seems more Norse, but I get this like Greek mythology feel to it because of all the monsters that are in there. And one question I had was like, did you have a sort of like naming spine that you applied? Because I'm thinking of the names that were in there. So like Uther Scumring, Ate, that's right, the Colosso, Stillnip, Gramps, Todd Morden, the Delkey Forest. Like these all feel like they're in the same world. It almost feels like you had a Tolkien approach to naming things. Like what was your influences when you're putting it together?
Ate, she was inspired by a Greek and Roman goddess. And Ate is one of like the names that she went by, but she was like the embodiment of chaos at one point. So I kind of took that idea and pulled in a bunch of other like concepts I had, but a lot of the names were like, so Bloodtorse the sword, that is bloodlust in Norwegian. In Our Lady of Chaos, a lot of the names are like Norwegian-esque and like stuff like that. And then in Our Lady of Order, we kind of switched a little more to Esperanto.
Oh, interesting.
And we do that in a lot of our other games. We pull in stuff like that. And actually one time someone actually noticed one of our titles was in Esperanto and they were like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone do this and stuff, because we're both really bad with other languages. Like
I didn't do well with languages in high school. We both know like this much kitchen Spanish and that's about it.
Right. I know more Vulcan than I know.
I was gonna say, was it William Shatner that noticed the Esperanto?
Yeah.
We're famous for having that movie.
One follow-up question for Lady of Chaos. Mongus Achongus.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw a little footnote, right? And I feel like every RPG has this recurring NPC or character that pops up in all the campaigns. What's his story?
All right, I'm gonna leave that.
So that one's my fault. Mel mentioned that we were doing the Curse of Strahd campaign. I was on a big kick of watching the show Red Dwarf, if you're familiar with that. But the character Rimmer, I was like, it would be hilarious to play Rimmer. Just a cowardly, sniveling guy. I made him a wizard, and just I guess he ended up almost kind of like Rincewind from the Discworld books. Strahd's the wrong game to have a cowardly wizard. So we're I don't know, maybe 5 sessions in before he gets killed. He tries to double cross the team, and
both our characters tried to double cross the team, and we were not successful.
And at that point, I was just like, "Oh, thank you for killing this guy off. I'm sick of playing him." Rolled up a new character to jump back in, and then our DM made him a vampire and brought him back at the end of the game. So then Mel brought him back in her game, and now it's like a running joke, like where's he going to show up and how soon until he runs away.
We were actually talking earlier. I just told him, I was like, for the Shadow Dark compatible game I'm working on, I was just like, oh, I already figured out where I'm placing Mongus.
Gotta put him in there. That's your
right?
whole thing.
Right? And he's like, no, I thought you did that.
John has a version of that. You have this old couple that pops up in various scenes where their dinner is always being ruined by whatever the party's doing.
It'd be like someone's like, all right, I rolled blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. How'd they die? I slashed their throat, and like, as the blood goes across the tavern, this couple sitting there having their anniversary dinner, and like it goes all, the cake has just come out and it goes all over the place. But
so based on the fact that you both tried to double cross your party, I'm gonna guess you're fans of like inter-party conflict, which I'm big on too, as these guys know.
We're kind of split on that, actually. Mel one just went with it, so that's where she lands on it. Our GM that was running the game, the way he presented this double cross to us, it seemed like such a big prepared thing. I had this kind of like fear of missing out thing going on where I was like, well, I don't want to say no, and then, oh, you got to throw like 20 pages of notes in the trash. So I was like, okay, I'll go along with it. And in the actual moment, I text Mel under the table and went, hey, we're double crossing them right now. So triple cross and we'll just go back with the party. And she never read the text.
Oh no.
So I went full for it, and yeah, sometimes the dice just aren't on your side. His character died. Mine became just a bad guy, like just like one of like Strahd's goons that would show up every so often, and I would get so excited because I'd be like, "Can I play her? Like, you know, I don't care about my current character. Like, can I just keep playing this?"
I still haven't got to play Strahd, and like I try not to read too much about it because I would.
As far as the official books go, I think it's the best 5e thing there is.
That's what Keith was saying. It was like Strahd and then like Tomb of Annihilation.
I'd love to do Strahd, because I remember Strahd, or from this version of Strahd and Ravenloft, like in 2e. I would love if they did like an OSR version, like a Shadow Dark Strahd would be amazing, you know? Because then it's like, you're not going to survive very easily in the Shadow Dark version.
Yeah, why don't you roll up 3 characters?
Exactly.
I mean, speaking of Shadow Dark, do you want to talk about your Shadow Dark stuff that you're working on? I saw a post in your blog where you had some preview art, which looked really, really cool.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so it's Knights in White Satin, wholeheartedly inspired by the song, because growing up, I always thought it was Knights in White Satin. And when I found out, it was only a couple years ago too. I don't know how I like managed to avoid seeing it written down at all. But I had like an existential crisis because I was like, how are you telling me that the image I had in my mind of this like cool knight on a horse with like this obnoxiously long bolt of satin just flowing in the wind every which way, like isn't what this song is about? How are you telling me that? It's always been a thing where I was like, I wanted to do something with it. We started doing these things called 16 room dungeons. And so I was like, all right, this is going to be the first one. I'm going to do Knights in White Satin for it. And then at Page, being next to Shadow Dark all weekend and talking to them, they were like, you should do something for Shadow Dark. Your style would work really well. Like, I think it would mesh really good. I was like, okay, I think I have something that would fit pretty well in it. So I started tweaking everything to go that way. And one of the main things that's going to be interesting with it is the use of color and moonlight.
Are you introducing Moody Blues?
Yeah, actually, the like big bad is the Moody Blue Knight.
Oh.
I just want to clarify something too, just for anyone that might be tuning in. You actually knew that it wasn't pronounced Knights in White Satin. You're just using that to. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I was like, wow, okay. You just recently learned that. Okay. Can we talk about your childhood for a little bit?
I mean, this happens. Like, I remember being in undergrad, and remember it's like Ducat from Star Trek. Like, I was talking about ducats from Shakespeare. I was saying Ducats, and she's like, Ducat is a Cardassian. Ducat.
Oh, I didn't know. Well, I just learned something new. And we're actually rewatching Deep Space Nine right now.
The best.
Mel, because you said you worked in comics and stuff, and when you started working on RPGs, I mean, it started as your own campaign, and then you got into fleshing it out more and stuff. And did you adjust your style as you went, or did you kind of stick with the style that you already had established?
I'm pretty good at like tweaking my style to cater to what the concept is. So with like all the Atera Redux stuff, that is like my main style, like kind of like creepy, spindly, skeletal-esque, long-limbed. I love to paint with gouache. So that's like what all the color in Our Lady of Chaos is and stuff like that. But like with I Got a Knife, I changed my art style to a little more cartoony-esque to fit with that layout. Pretty much all the Atera Redux stuff is like my preferred creepy art.
Do you have the page of Ate? That's a good one to show. Yeah, see, like that's what she means.
Ooh, I love that.
And then there's like her like second form. Yeah, you can show that.
Yeah,
so like
this is the one for the sequel. to show her again.
Oh, see,
But
I should
kinda-
have put the other one at the freaking page. He tried, Sean was good about it. He was like, if you want all three, there's a discount. And I'm like, no, let me get the one.
And so you hand paint everything, or do you do digital?
Yeah, all the art in Our Lady of Chaos was all hand painted gouache, and then the front and back cover. And then for Our Lady of Order, the front and back I painted in gouache, and then did digital coloring for the inside stuff. But it just kind of worked better for that one. And then, I usually tend to try to do paintings for the covers of stuff, except the I Got a Knife cover, which Sean actually painted.
Yep. I did one thing.
What about the map?
That one.
Oh, the maps? Yeah, so for
Sorry, I didn't mean to squash. Sean was showing us something.
It was his shake and bake moment, and I helped.
With Our Lady of Chaos maps, I pretty much just had a bunch of graph paper and was like, all right, I'm just gonna go at it.
You drew all of those too? 'Cause
Yeah.
they look so like pristine that they look like they're computer generated.
No, yeah, I hand did them, some pens, and a lot of shaky hands and cross eyes. And yeah, like with actual like continent of Harcourt, I was trying to think of, and I didn't do the best job at it, but how like weather and stuff would affect stuff. So having like a mountain range on one side of it has to be a desert. I know a lot of people do like the rice thing, where they like throw rice down and stuff.
Yeah, you throw down rice and you just kind of trace the outline, and then there's your map, and then you add as you go.
I had never heard of that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then for the Knights in White Satin, what I did for the map design was Cairn's Warden's Guide and also the Shadow Dark book do the same thing where you use dice and you throw the dice on a sheet of paper, and then where the dice lands is kind of like where a room is, and then you can decide like based off of the numbers on the dice what each room is, or you can like figure out a different way to go through that. But it's a good way to like make sure you're not just right angles constantly. And
that's kind of similar. So in our system, TQ has a dungeon crawl mechanic where you can like spontaneously generate a dungeon as you go along, and it's a similar thing. It's like a D12 table that you roll, and then it tells you what the next room is, and you kind of work off and collaborate with your table to create that.
It's like crazy how much randomness is really important in creativity. We get stuck in our own visions, and then when you throw something random, suddenly the whole world opens up, right?
So I saw that some of your games include like kind of do-it-yourself pieces. Like there's the Papercraft D6 and that spinner from Loser as well. Like how did you come up with the idea for that, and what made you go in that direction?
So the Papercraft D6 for Cosmonauts and Crystal Balls, when we designed that, we originally had a D6 just included with it. We kind of just did that because, most everyone has a D6 because, even if you don't have a dice set, but we kind of didn't want to assume anything. So we included it, but then it started getting weird with
storage.
Yeah, storing it and then shipping it. Once you add anything that's not paper to something, it like leaves the realm of book and then enters the realm of games, right?
Yeah. So
like shipping then
so when
becomes
we had to
a
ship
thing.
Things overseas, gets so wait a minute.
Yeah. So
here's this $5 game that had no tax, and now it's a $5 game where you have to pay customs.
Yeah, so it's like $30 to get this like $5 game.
Because now it's no longer a book, it's a game or a board game. And that's
really messed up. Another country would tax you for things that are just trying to bring in and like be wow.
Right, right. I know.
Never happened in America.
So we decided that maybe just including like a paper die, and it's not something that you have to use or anything like that. It's just like an extra little thing. And it's also like a family friendly game. So if you're playing with kids, like that's also something that they can then be like, oh, I made this thing. So, I had to make sure I looked at how D6s are laid out and made sure that the numbers were opposite and everything like that and stuff. And then with the Binny, the pencil spinner for Loser, we know not a lot of people have D16s and didn't want it to be like something where, oh, you have to buy this weird random dice now just to be able to play this game. So we figured trying to make like a die cutout would be too difficult. Pencil spinner led itself pretty well to that, and also just makes it another fun little extra thing that.
And it also sticks with our DIY approach to stuff, because now we can provide, hey, here's a custom dice without having to actually make custom dice.
Yeah, because we try to keep everything combined, like what you'll need. Like even with like Our Lady of Chaos and Our Lady of Order, I include every spell any of the NPCs use listed in the book. So if you don't have your player's handbook with you, it's not like, oh crap, I can't do this. It's just like, oh, I just got to flip to the back and there it is.
Yeah.
You know,
practicality definitely is like a big approach that like when we're starting to get stuff for final layouts and things like that, it's, hey, how will this actually look at the table? How can you actually play it at the table?
And you had said that you got your start kind of with punk zines. How did that go? And what was that like versus what you're doing now?
I mentioned having the Brother printer before. That was one of the many things that I used for it, you know, back in high school. I tried to go to every punk show I possibly could every weekend, you know, and just the zines kind of went hand in hand with it. It was just, you know.
I have one more question related to systems, because I just want people to understand, because if who aren't familiar with your work, you've got this main series, which is like the brainchild of your campaign, right? And it's using 5e as a system. But there's a ton of these zine products that are not 5e, and they're completely different systems. Can you tell us a little bit about, like we were talked about a little bit about the one that has a spinner and the 16-sided die. What other stuff do we get mechanically in the zines?
Those that are the original games we kind of wrote together. It started with Mel writing and then needing a game system for this game, Beans, the Flammable Fruit. It's about escaping a dungeon with the power of farts. That kind of became proto version of the game system that we're kind of still tweaking and using for the other games. We're calling it Die versus Die. And really where that comes from is two things: seeing a couple memes about this, and then directly being asked this by my mom at one point was, do you really use all those dice? And, you know, when you're playing D&D, it's kind of like, well, you know, I used a D20 and then this, that, and the other for my character. And maybe your character doesn't use a D8. Maybe your character doesn't use this. So it's kind of to come up with a system that actually uses all the dice.
Because we are dice goblins.
Yes. We have many dice.
Many boxes of dice, chests of dice, bags of dice.
Yeah. We call it Die versus Die because a core mechanic for that is across the board is that every single skill check is like a roll-off, to die against each other. I never wanted it to be a game where, okay, I just took my turn and then everyone else has taken their turn and it's taken a little while, and you know, by the time it gets back around to you, you realize you didn't pay attention to the turns. I wanted that roll-off to be something that happens in the middle of the table, create a little excitement there. We use that for the Beans, the Flammable Fruit. I Got a Knife and Loser. We're trying to, the same system that we have for Loser is going to be, one, it's on the back of our business cards. That's how short and sweet it is. And then we're also doing an expansion right now where, you ever see like those RPG in a tin things? They come in like an Altoid tin. We're going to do our version of that, where it's going to be those simplified Die versus Die rules, and it's going to be a bunch of different settings. So here's one little pamphlet for your rule set, and then here's a little pamphlet for this setting with some plot hooks, and this first setting with plot hooks and character options, and here you go. And we might even throw in like kind of a blank so you can DIY your own.
I like the idea of having like these kind of like different ways to play a game, because you can like expose yourself to lots of different games. Because I feel like most games are like expecting you to invest. You're going to invest a year in just the system and spend so much time in it. And it's like, just like with 9th level games, like they give you a bunch of little games to play and you can keep getting different exposures. And we don't have a lot of that, I feel.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
our stuff is definitely geared towards like one-shot nights, shorter campaigns. I mean,
RPG style, right? Where you like kind of
Right,
sit
yeah.
around.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
we
even
like to use like the concept of if one person can't show up for the like campaign game night, then it's like, oh, we don't have to cancel it. We can just play something else that'll only take a few hours, and it's not really like stopping everyone else just because one or two people can't make it.
Vapid Venus Ventures. I'm guessing I know what that's about, but can you tell me a little bit about that? And then also, is there a ska game on the horizon?
There is.
yes. So Vapid Venus Ventures is a solo journaling game. We kind of got into it because so many people would ask us at like cons and events, like, hey, oh, do you guys have a solo game? And it was just like, wait. And, you know, it was something that wasn't really on my radar. I know like some of the older games, even like Tunnels and Trolls had solo play, but the whole solo game by itself was kind of new for us. So we really dove headfirst into it. The journaling style is the one that I thought kind of gave us the most freedom. And then, you know, I kind of pitched the idea to Mel. The artwork she came up with kind of bounced back and forth with the writing then. So really like all the ideas that are in there kind of bounced off each other.
Pretty much the whole point of it is you're working for this corporation to terraform Venus, but it's going to be like hundreds of years project. So you're really only doing like a really small part of it, but you're on the ship for a year or so, and you really only have like one other crewmate that you encounter while you're here. So it's kind of all of the prompts deal with how are you going to entertain yourself? How do you get along with your coworker? Like, are you guys like chill? Are you ready to throw them out the airlock? It kind of wraps up with a corporate survey that you get from corporate overlords being like, you know, how willing are you to tell a friend about this? And
least likely to most likely.
Yeah, you know, when you don't even have the option to say least likely, you know, like the way it's also set up is it's good for character design if you're going to play like a space game or something like that and you want to like kind of form a character before diving into that. But yeah, the art in that is a mix of acrylic paintings and digital art. So like I did like a big acrylic painting of Venus and like the space around it, and then put in like the astronauts and stuff in space like above it. So
it's just so rare to see. Like, I feel like space games, sci-fi games are rarer in the RPG world. So I love seeing them because my first love is sci-fi games, but it's like you got to do the fantasy one first, bring to the sci-fi one. And so I'm always excited to see more sci-fi games. And the second thing I wanted to say too is I just am always envious of other designers who do so many different games and genres and systems. You know, I feel like here I am spending half a decade in one system, and I'm seeing these other designers, and they're just popping out different games. So kudos to you guys for getting so many systems out.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, I mean, with the sci-fi stuff, I feel like I've been seeing it more and more recently. I mean, obviously, Mothership.
Which did a collaboration with Aylwood Games for a Mothership. Shore Leaves called Venetian Stairs, and it was a rave, like 90s rave inspired one. So essentially like your players are trying to find this rave, but is there a rave? You don't know. You're just going down sets of steps constantly, encountering really weird things inspired by like Aphex Twin and stuff like that. So
we put that together with Aylwood Games because we tabled with them at PAX Unplugged. So we made it kind of like a PAX Unplugged exclusive. The whole thing's laid out, so it's laid out as a flyer. And we sold most of them at this point. But then Tuesday Night Games did pick up a handful. We're waiting to see if that'll hit the website.
It's just like a weird thing to like ship because it's like it's 14 by 8.5. You don't ever want to fold a poster, you know, although I did design the front so that it could be folded and it would still look cool.
Both of us are big sci-fi nerds. We love that, you know, Mothership's out there. The other big one that we've been trying to get into our gaming group is Triangle Agency. They put together a really nice book. And again, we went like gaga over the paper, the printing.
Are we ready for some quick rapid fire questions? And we'll move into our hook. Kirk, Picard, Cisco. Marry, fuck, kill. Go.
We have different answers
Yeah.
here.
Okay. Marry Picard, fuck Cisco, kill Kirk. And I'm an original series fan.
That's the conundrum here.
I thought we were going to have different answers.
Oh,
for
is that it?
Yeah.
When did you think she was going to differ on? Just out of
Oh,
curiosity.
I thought she was going to kill Cisco.
Yeah. Well, I do get why you think he's just so intense, right? That's why I
Yeah.
couldn't marry him.
Cisco.
That's why he would have to be a fuck.
The actor's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Oh, Avery Brooks. Yeah.
Also, I don't know if I could like talk about baseball that much. Sean knows that my all-time favorite is Dr. McCoy. So like if he's ever in the running for anything, he's
What'd you think about what's his name's
Carl Urban.
Yep, there you go.
I think he did a great job. He really captured the best parts of that character, and he did a really good job. And you know, he's also very attractive. So DeForest Kelly.
I was wondering, since you are both dice goblins, do you have a favorite die?
In that chest.
Hold on a minute. Impact Miniatures makes it. They're the same company that does Dungeon Crawl Classics dice. They have a set that is the D3 through the D20. Every single, there's like some real funky ones in there. Like,
Yeah,
here we
one.
go. Here's here's the D9.
Yeah, they come in like
Oh,
these
yeah.
tubes.
D7. But my favorite, I'm trying to find it here, is
D15.
Our final rapid fire question is our perennial question we ask for every designer. And this is, what is your number one piece of advice for new designers who are embarking on the horrifying journey of trying to make their own system or game for the first time?
Oh, Nike thing. Just do it. Just put it out there. You have the idea, put a Word doc on itch. Get people playing it. Play it with other people at game stores, conventions, whatever you got. You'll never be able to refine a game until you're starting to play it, and it'll never come together unless you actually start working on it. Just do it, get it out there. There's stuff we don't keep in print because it wasn't the best. If you're not going to hit a bullseye on your very first try, but you'll get something fun in your first try. You're making a game.
I say utilize the community. I feel like the indie tabletop community is very rising tide raises all ships kind of mentality, where there's always someone willing to offer advice, lend an ear if you just want to run something by them. I know we did it when we were starting out and stuff.
Yeah.
And like
we mentioned all the other local game companies, Heather and Chris from Ninth Level Games. They gave us a lot of great advice when we were starting out. Same thing with Tony from Plus One XP, Justin from Severed Books.
we actually go down to Baltimore every time he like hosts something because it's always a fun time.
There's people you can lean on. You can ask for that kind of stuff. You don't happen to be an artist like Mel and you're writing books. There's some artist out there just itching for something to draw.
Well, all right. So this is a first for us here at that RPG podcast, where we have our first guest to join us on Adventure Hook. From here on out, though, DQ is going to sit this one out, but you'll be moderating and kind of leading us along as we develop this special Valentine's Day Adventure Hook.
On this Adventure Hook, which has been submitted by our listeners, especially for our guests here, the Adventure Hook reads as follows. Several squads of adventurers are picked every year to help deliver love messages for the people. Not out of embarrassment or shame, but for fear of the gods. The gods, good and bad, can't get relationships on their own and grow irate at the sight of PDA. So you must help people confess their true feelings without getting smited. So this is a premise. Now we have 3 tenets we have to respect in this from our listeners. 1, the gods are incredibly jealous of love, and all forms of PDA have to have a double meaning in order to avoid being smited. 2, each moment a confession of love is to happen, one of the gods takes notice, but since they are likely in many places at once, they're quite easily distracted. And 3, there's a goose or other spirit animal afoot, but no one is sure if it's a promiscuous Zeus-like god or just a random spirit animal, which poses an additional smite hazard. So we've got adventurers who have to deliver love messages under the nose of the gods, it sounds like. We've got really jealous gods that don't like love and PDA. They pop up whenever there's a confession of love. And we've got this weird ass goose. So I unleash you guys upon it, and I'll start guiding you through the steps here. But what are our first impressions?
Before we start, if we strike gold and you guys want to take this and make money off of it, we're going to let you. But one condition, you have to add somehow the fortune teller.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. You would have to add that as part. That's my only thing. But otherwise, with our blessing.
I was a girl in middle school. I got that.
Me too.
Well, first impression for me was one of the first things that popped in my head was some type of origami with the messages. So right on point with what you were saying. And the other image that popped in my head was that if you're having these love notes and you're trying to hide it from the gods, like having like a comically large newspaper to be like, oh yeah, and I hope the gods didn't see. Oh, did you see what the weather's like today?
Right. I was thinking like with like how the PDA has to be like there has to be something else going on. I was just like very intricate handshakes.
So clandestine interactions with people.
The more intricate, the more like, in depth the love is. Oh God, this this like crazy hand thing's been going on for 5 minutes. Like they must have really
practiced that in their downtime.
Right,
huh?
yeah, right. But no, they have to all be spontaneous, obviously. But it's just the love that makes it work.
My thought was kind of the implication of this, that the gods can't see inside or can't see through things. They can only see what's in the open air. Because I assume that people can still have relationships, like in a house, like you can still have a relationship with somebody, but it's just out when you're flirting and stuff. You can't be too obvious about it. So it's like, are the gods relegated to just like the wilderness? Do they have some weird vision blocking thing? Like they're not really all that powerful. They can only see through clear air or something.
And that kind of would make sense with the idea that you're specifically not sure about the goose.
Oh yeah, is the goose like trying to get? Is the goose just like out and about, or is it like actually getting in? Like if there's two people standing next to each other, getting a little too close, is this goose gonna like show up and scream at them, or all of a sudden have a knife or something?
So I had a thought, kind of ties that in, but. Mine was that, the gods get easily distracted. They got to be all over the place. So not anywhere in my personal life, but like, oh, I'm going to go downstairs with you to help you with the laundry. Helping with like boring jobs so the gods don't look. But then for some reason, there's always you're like, as you're down there doing the laundry, you hear the honk, honk. Oh, like
right.
The goose comes.
Yeah, is this goose just always like, right? You just turn around and the goose just like does like the groundhog thing that just does the
yeah. Or have you played Untitled Goose Game?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that goose, just the chaos goose.
Sounds like we've introduced a number of things here. On the one hand, we've said that the gods have a limited view into this world. Like somehow they can't quite see everything that's going on. Which is John is saying there's places we can hide to get away with stuff. And then we've also in there, we said like there's ways, we wanted to have certain rituals to kind of motions to hide our view from the gods. And then at the same time, the more we love people, the more that we put into the ritual of hiding what we're doing. So all those things combined, now what genre are we sitting inside of? Like, is this fantasy, sci-fi, comedy, historical fiction? Where are we sitting with this? What are we thinking?
I'm leaning towards Greek mythology with a humor level, though, not tragedy, obviously, but.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already picturing like, Cupid with the arrow and, the goose being Zeus or something along those lines.
Would Cupid in this world be like the most hated god then? Right? If the gods are jealous and don't like love, then
all the gods are like this fucking guy. Like,
right? Yeah. Like is the goose Cupid?
Well, I was thinking maybe Cupid's an anti-Cupid. He's actually a cock blocker.
So then shouldn't he be a chicken?
Wait, maybe it's not a goose, it's a chicken.
Right.
So we're suggesting that like this Cupid character is opposed to the gods in some way.
That would be kind of fun. Like
the Cupid's
going
like,
around
revolution, free love.
Disney Hercules is what we're thinking, like comedy wise.
Maybe the Cupid character is the one going around teaching everybody the intricate handshakes.
Yeah.
Because he wants to make love flourish.
Yeah.
Exactly. You guys are married? Let me show you this handshake.
He just like pulls out the Kama Sutra. Just like...
So in a way, he's on the player's side then, this Cupid character.
Yeah, he could be a NPC or, Deus Ex Machina kind of thing for the DM.
No, I like that. I could also see it being like some element of like trickster god in there where sometimes people aren't quite sure if they can trust him or not, but he's kind of the only one who's giving them these ideas. So
because sometimes he gets like it wrong, right?
Yeah.
That's always a trope, like, oh, we hit the wrong couple with the arrows, or you looked at the wrong person when you got shot.
Right.
I mean, if this thing is like divine, right? It could, I mean, it's opposed to the gods, but divine in some way. Maybe it can operate in multiple positions like the gods do. Because if you got so many couples or so many adventurers wandering around trying to make these love matches happen, I imagine you're going to need a lot of that Cupid character doing the work.
I just want to dial back in multiple positions, something Kama Sutra. Anyway.
Well, that's when it comes back to the little origami thing.
How do we think that's used as a mechanic? Like, if that's literally something the players are using, but one of the goals of this whole exercise is like, how do we turn this into something on the table? Like, is that like something the players are using? Like, how do we use that?
Roll the dice to see what you actually pick. And then depending on what the end result is, that's the specific handshake you learn.
I was thinking something along the lines of whether the gods are paying attention. Like you say what you're doing and then you count it off and then you open the flap and it says like, it's kind of like a magic 8-ball thing. Like, oh, they're not paying attention. Maybe they are, but they're not focused, or like they're deadly focused on you. And that would be.
Sounds like your dice almost. Instead of dice, are you using this thing for the random aspect?
I think it'd be a really cool thing to introduce a spin the bottle mechanic too. But that's
Yes. Okay. So I feel like we got a good sense of what's happening with this Goose potentially. Now the question for me next is, we know what the players are doing and that they're the matchmakers, but what sort of roles do the players play? So in our system, in OSR Plus, we have archetypes. So these are like narrative roles, like a TBTA. Like if this is like a high school romance, you're like the mean girl or you're the bully. What are the roles in this game that the players can adopt when they're playing the game?
Well, that's a tough one for those, I think. Well, I think maybe we take like cues off of like love stories. Like, so there's like a Cyrano de Bergerac style, like one that like helps like bolster someone's confidence or give them words to woo with. Like there's a Don Juan.
Think like Hallmark Christmas movie too. There's the hometown guy. He's just a carpenter that, he's just a homegrown good old boy that.
There's the nerdy girl that takes off the glasses and unties her hair.
Instantly becomes a smoke show. Yeah.
Yeah, like charisma goes up like 10 points,
So Don Juan, the hometown guy, the nerdy girl, what else do we got? We usually want like 6 of them.
The wordsmith, the physically ugly wordsmith.
Another one could be like the gossipy old matchmaker type woman who like gets into everybody's business.
Yeah, Yentl.
Yentl. Okay, I love that. That's more specific. Like, I feel like with archetypes, if you can get like one word, that's the jam. Yentl, perfect. Yentl.
What about like the Dear Ann, the columnist or Dr. Ruth?
I mean, we got 6. We got Don Juan, aggressive, sexual, hometown guy, wholesome, nerdy girl, smoke show, which turns off her glasses, the wordsmith, the Yentl, and the Dr. Ruth. So we've got all these roles they can play. Perfect.
Wow, that was more easy than I thought it would be. Good job, team.
So we've got our setup. We've got our goals for the players. Now, if we're imagining the space that they're adventuring in, the nodes, the locations, the events that happen, what are the sort of things they bounce around in? If this was like an arcade and they're the ball bouncing around, what do the players go to? What do they do? And as the adventure unfolds.
If we're doing like, Greco-Roman-esque, there's going to be some kind of like market.
To piggyback on that, if I may, Mel, like what if the Agora meet cute? So it's like the two shopkeepers bumping into each other, and
the locations are like romance opportunities. That's how we're selling.
Yeah, they're both reaching for the same basket of olives.
The public transit meet cute, or they're both going for the same horse's reins at the same time or something.
So it's just all meet cutes.
It's just all meet cute.
Yeah, right. Like, because you're trying to. It sounds like your players are trying to arrange this meet cute.
Well, so there would have to be a couple that are like the not necessarily unrequited love, but like asking someone out to the prom kind of thing, like where you have to like intervene to allow someone to get the courage.
And then both the courage to do it and the way to do it
To
on the
sneak it,
sly.
yes. Yeah, there could be the Romeo and Juliet / Shark and Jets kind of lovers from opposite side of the tracks.
Star-crossed lovers. I think it's like they're always doomed.
No, we have that one as a conflict in our game, star-crossed lovers.
Two
Yeah.
ships passing in the sea or passing in the night.
So what do we say the balcony is the kind of place where you have this attempt to make a plea to the lover? Okay, so we got Agora, Meet Cute, public transit, the balcony. Where else can we go? What else happens?
The Bergerac character gets like a +3 for that.
Could there be something in a temple, given that we're in ancient Greece? I don't know, would that be like the Hallmark Christian holiday movie or something?
Or the wedding kind of situation?
Oh, what about the interrupting of a wedding?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
A friend who's in love or an
Speak
ex-lover.
now or
something.
forever hold your peace. And
And that will be tough if the gods are watching. If you literally have to interrupt a confession to confess your love, how do you disguise?
In their temple. Going the other direction. I want to do the food delivery. Someone order a pizza, extra sauce.
it's going on right now. The Olympics. Maybe they're paired up on a team or
Ooh.
on opposite teams.
Heated rivalry even.
Yeah, it gets a
Right.
little too heated.
Yeah.
So we've got a bunch. So just to recap, Agora, Meet Cute, public transit, Meet Cute, got the balcony with, the whole wordsmith behind it all, temple, church, hallmark, interruption of a wedding, got the food delivery, overtly sexual suggestion, and then the Olympics, heated rivalry athletic situation. So I feel like we've got a lot of places for the players to bounce around. But the next question I have for you, though, is who is opposing us in this adventure? Who is our antagonist?
Well, we already got a goose.
The like overly prude townsperson.
I assume some kind of priest or priestess, like
Like,
you'll get
like
the gods mad.
like Elvira, the one Elvira movie, like the lady that the main chick in that town, a very Karen-esque.
Someone prude, someone loyal to the gods, then?
Yeah. Because then they have a reason they'd want to snitch on you.
Right.
Mhm.
And a lot of the gods were not virgins, but a lot of the like female goddesses were virgins, like Athena, Artemis. So there's also like, it could be someone that is like a high priest or priestess to one of those gods that are just like, oh, how dare you?
She's
mush."
pissed that everybody else is getting it on and she can't.
Exactly, right?
It's a
Right.
bunch of snitches, basically.
Right? So like, I just got my owl, or I just got my arrow, my bow. My bow is my lover.
Does that mean that like beating the antagonist is helping them find love for themselves?
Maybe.
I like it.
Ooh.
Someone's falling in love with that goose, right?
The goose needs love.
Yeah.
So how do we feel? So we went through this really. This is what we get when we have designers with us. This is fantastic.
They're too good at this.
We got our archetypes. We've got our nodes. Nodes being like the places we can travel, and we've got like our antagonists. Fantastic.
I think we need to flesh out the goose. Gods are incredibly jealous. All forms of beauty have double meaning to avoid being smited. Like we didn't really touch on the tenets.
It seems like possibly that I don't want to intrude here, but like that seems like a way that you have to reveal the love in the scene. So if you're the players and say you're in the temple, right, and you need to intervene on the wedding, like you've got to somehow have a double entendre when you
That's
reveal.
part of the mechanic.
I was gonna say, like with that fortune teller thing, like maybe there's also words on there that you have to basically build into a double entendre flirtation that might sound innocent, but can also sound really raunchy and sexual.
I like that. Okay, solved on that one. Each moment confession of love is to happen while the gods takes notice, but since they're likely in many place bonus, they're quite easily distracted. All right, I think we kind of built that in
That's
general.
true. That's the way that you can get around the gods because they're kind of good.
But I still feel like we need a little bit more fleshing out of this mysterious spirit animal. I mean, we talked about there's multiple geese. I don't think we really landed on anything solid though.
Well, let's talk about Lady of Chaos really quickly, because in Lady of Chaos, we have these opposing systems. We've got like the old magic and chaos rising, right? And you call it the emergence, right? And so it's an opposition between these two systems of gods. Is that something like that happening here?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Is the goose the new gods?
Of the earth? Material.
Yeah, right. Like, could you imagine also if
Geese were the new
geese were the
gods.
new gods? Things would probably make a lot more sense.
Angry sex gods, it sounds like.
Do they have cloacas, right? Just cloacas? So yeah,
They have a lot of control over what happens.
Yeah, it's simple. They know what they like, and they go for it.
It's the uprising of the geese gods, basically, is what we're happening.
Yeah.
And maybe Cupid has aligned with them.
Yeah, because maybe they love.
You mentioned using the mechanic for like having certain phrases and everything. So if it's like, I don't know, like pillow, you could throw in a little dirty pillows and people would know what you're talking about. Maybe you pick a second word and that's the word that would enrage the goose. You're not really sure.
You gotta be careful with the goose. I mean, it sounds like the goose represents a new way to love, and it's a way to possibly bring love to the gods, because the gods are jealous of love. They can't have it. And so one of these gods is aligned with the goose, because the goose, whatever it is, wants to bring love to the gods. It's this new way of loving. So it sounds like what you're saying is you could mess that up, because you could make the goose angry. They're geese after all. But you're trying to bring love to the old world.
I wonder if the geese were like the result of gods popping into geese, basically granting them sentience, leaving, and then Goose is like, wait, what the fuck?
I've wasted
like,
my life at this pond.
It's like
Bread isn't the answer. Oh!
how in Dune when the mom gets the stuff with the baby while she's pregnant, and then the baby's just like, oh, I know everything. I'm gonna be creepy.
Yeah.
It would be like, what if that happened while a goose, like, so a god went into a goose, but the goose was laying an egg while that was happening. So then this new goose that was born is just like, why do I know everything?
This is Zeus's fault for fucking around.
So now this goose is like, to get back at the gods, I am going to form a love
Cult.
army, a cult, and
The Chaos Cult from Lady of Chaos.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think we figured this out. Now, the last step in our process is to fuck it up with twists. And this is where we introduce randomness to it. So you want to break out your dice. We're going to need a D4 for this to mess it up. What we do is we're going to add a twist, and the twist has one of four outcomes. It could be we're going to introduce a monster that's thematically important to this. We're going to change the genre. We're going to change the adventure type, or we're going to introduce a story hook, which is kind of like a thematic idea to it. So let's get a D4 and figure out which direction we're going.
All right.
Roll one.
Uno.
One, a monster. We always have a monster. I'm going to open up the bestiary I have, which is a long list of 307 classic monsters. I'm going to sort them randomly.
Don't think I have a 300 some die.
Or any number all the way up to 300, whatever you want to roll. So if you want to use one of those weird dice, we could do that.
Yeah, let's
do
do percentage.
49?
49.
49. All right. Okay. So 49 is hippo folk, but where we really landed is 48 because of the zero. So B. A B.
A B.
B.
How do they know? Bees hate Sean with a passion. Like,
Yeah.
he must have done something to generations ago to a bee, and they remember his face.
It's like a running gag in my life. I've been stung over 50 times.
Yeah. They even come after, like, I've even intercepted attacks on him.
Where Mel's gotten stung.
That I've gotten stung, been like, and I didn't really believe him before, but then after being stung by a hornet in an umbrella in the middle of winter, I was like, okay, I believe you now. So it's fitting that it's a bee.
I've actually never been stung by a bee. I've gotten stung by a wasp once, and that was my entire experience being stung by animals. So I'm sorry, Sean.
I mean, this is appropriate because it's fate, right? And the gods are all about fate.
All right, so what is this bee? Is it the enemy of the goose? Is it a vessel of the gods? Is it unrelated?
Ooh.
I feel like, well,
I feel like it's got to be like the retaliation from the gods, right?
So like, I feel like, bees and honey sweet, romance is sweet. So maybe there's like honey involved in some of the
Sex rituals.
Slash, yeah, sex rituals. Yeah, entertaining sex rituals.
Handshakes.
Right. So maybe it's something where like, yeah, they're sending the bee, bunch of bees forming a giant bee.
I was thinking like the old game 720, the skate or die, and the bees come in, they like form the scissors, they chase it around. And...
Oh, so it's a mass bee, like it's forming into something.
It can like, yeah, and it can form like a realistic hand that can like grab stuff and like.
So is this something conjured by our prudish priestess?
Yeah, maybe it's something where they typically keep the beehives for agriculture
they
and to
did
have the
have-
honey.
they did
And
keep-
yeah.
Yeah, they did keep bees back then. So
Is the bee honey that's produced by this? So that you got a prudish priest beekeeping, right? Is the honey an aphrodisiac?
Aphrodisiac, you mean?
Aphrodisiac. Is it? Do the players need to steal this stuff to aid themselves in their sex escape?
Ooh.
yeah,
Could be an extra reason the priest and priestess are a little angry with you.
right. Because maybe it also gives them like a slight advantage to make it successful with the aphrodisiac.
So a risk for the players, they want to sneak into the temple, get some aphrodisiac,
Right.
and apply it to their escapades.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You've heard of Spanish fly, but have you heard of Greek bee?
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we've made a whole game. You guys could just animate it and write it up. You're good to go. Just sell it. That is the nature of our adventure hook. We just try to take this prop and make sense of it and turn it into something.
Wait. Where does Mangas Achongas fit into this?
Oh,
no.
Good
call.
question.
Good call.
He's got to be one of the priests, right?
Totally. I feel like in his life he's never interfered with someone sexually.
That's a good way to put it.
Right.
Great way of putting it.
To quote actually
Red Dwarf,
Red
yeah.
Dwarf, Rimmer's character at one point was like, I've never interfered sexually with a woman. And I was just like, of course he would use that to define, like sexual intercourse, like interfere.
I swear to God, the second I came upon the page in the book of Mangas Achongas, I'm like, I know exactly what this is. I just know. Well, thank you for working with us on this adventure hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. Right.
You guys are an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to running into you in future cons and perhaps the streets of Philadelphia. Who knows? But
where will you be next?
So next we've got
So we do a bunch of events besides cons.
Yeah, so
we're doing the Philly Punk Rock Flea Market, not this weekend, but next weekend.
Then we've got an outside market that we're doing for the first time.
It's the shops at Dragon Village. That's in South Jersey.
Yeah, it's their Viking invasion weekend.
Yeah, so we're dressing up as Vikings for it. That's in March. We're doing a New Jersey punk rock flea market in April, but then the next conventions we're doing are going to be Game Face Con in Baltimore. That's Memorial Day weekend. And the weekend right after that is Concoction. That's also going to be in South Jersey and Vineland. That's a brand new one. The same people that run Page are putting Concoction together. And that looks like it's going to be a good time. We started seeing the other vendor lists and things like that, and looks like it's going to be a good group. So we have all our events on the website. We try to keep that updated. I mean, we generally keep to the East Coast. We try to get at least like one event in a month, if not more, like May's coming up. Yeah.
And we do once a year, it's usually in the fall, but we do try to make it up to like Maine because we do have friends up there. So we've been talking about trying to like schedule it more towards like, what is it, Arcane Con?
Yeah, Arcane Con. We're not sure if we're going to vend there, but we're going to try to at least attend and maybe run some games.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to do PAX Unplugged again.
That's where we're going to have to meet you guys out there because that's our video here.
So Roderick from Elwood Games, he has a table and we help him to man the booth, so we're always there. And for years it was like kind of our big local con, so now it's cool being vendors there too and being able to schmooze more with other game makers and things.
For our listeners, that is Meldar16.com if you want to follow any of these events and hang out with them and get their zines and their game.
Yeah, and then we have all our print stuff on our website. We also use Itch for PDFs. We have a handful of pay what you want / free things as PDFs too, if you want to just dabble and check things out.
Yeah. And we're always doing like charity bundles and stuff. So we're always like throwing games in for those where you get like 1,500 games for like $10.
Yeah.
So.
Right now we're part of a No Ice in Minnesota bundle that has more than 1,400 like RPGs plus video games. Yeah, we don't have all the money in the world, but we can sure donate games. So
Thank you so much, guys. Like, really, it's an absolute pleasure to meet the both of you. You're delightful people, and
it was nice meeting you all too.
And would love to play a game in the future if you're ever interested. Would love to have you.
Definitely.
I would definitely be interested.
And there's plenty of drinking involved. Don't worry.
You can follow us at OSR Plus on YouTube or join our Discord at osrplus.com. If you want to support us, visit our Patreon, patreon.com/OSR Plus for early access to our content and premium access to our digital tools. See you next time.